These people will not resolve our issues here. They only respond when we hurt them. When we hurt them. I'm a public sector worker, I've got a good retirement. Young people, you won't have it if it doesn't stop. You won't have it. The bosses are not afraid of us. They're only afraid if we hurt them. They know, because you see the media, they're already talking about $130,000 salaries, pensions. We're used to this, it's happening. If they cared about the public, they wouldn't cut transit. If they cared about the public, they wouldn't eliminate 700,000 jobs, lay off teachers. They don't care about the public. They want to drive our wages and conditions down. So the question is, we have a great opportunity here. Despite the disruption, why is there fear? Because the public will be disrupted. They don't really care about that. They care about economic disruption. So the union leadership and the unions have to respond to that propaganda, because the public can be won to our side. The guy earning $10 an hour will feel not much like supporting a driver earning 35, but he will if he thinks there's a job in it for him, if there's a future for them. So we can't wage a defensive battle. We can't limit the issues to just what happens on our jobs. And we have to fight for the general public. Every strike has to be a social issue. We can't limit these issues. No to austerity. Jobs. Lower fares for seniors. Free fares for seniors. Lower fares for the poor. More routes. And what else is happening here? I'm an EdMUD retiree. EdMUD, City of Oakland, Parks, we're all in the same union, we all have the same bosses. These just carry out the 1%'s agenda. That's all they are. If the public sees that we're fighting, he's laughing, that's what he's going to do probably too. If the public sees the disruption is going to benefit their material wealth, to me this is a joke. Their well-being, then they will support us. Your time. 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Good evening. I'm Andreas Kluber with the Alameda County Building Trades Council, and I came, I think it was about 2 weeks ago at the last meeting, to speak on the item of the jobs policy for the AC Transit BRT. And the request of the board at that point was to delay the decision on BRT until staff had an opportunity to meet both with community and with labor on this issue. I'm just coming back to report we've had a couple of meetings on both counts, and I believe we are making progress towards both the jobs policy and the project labor agreement. I'm confident that we should be within the timeline that we set out during those meetings for achieving those two, and be able to bring back to the board both the jobs policy and the PLA at once. So just want to report on that. Thank you very much.
Want to start this on this time? Hard act to follow. My name is Jake Marquez. I'm from maintenance, and I just want to point out the fact that I've heard in the past AC Transit has wanted combined jobs. I'm from central maintenance, where we do a lot of building in the unit room and in the body shop. We do major accidents. I just want to point out that AC Transit has been talking about combining jobs, which I think that they don't realize the fact that we have specialty jobs that we do. We've done them for years. And to just move people around the way they want to is just ridiculous. You know, you need to keep people in play that you have right now. Because we've been doing jobs. We've done work on Van Bulls where we've had buses sitting for a year, where you consulted with Van Bull and they didn't have a fix for it. Us in the body shop Central Maintenance fixed them ourselves, and we told them all along that we could do that. We have items in unit room that are getting built that, you know, that are done cheaper in the unit room, but AC Transit consistently wants to send things out. And I don't know why. I don't understand that. And it's been proven time and time again that it's been built easier, you know, through our own people. So utilize the people that you have, please. Yes. You know, and understand that. We've been working for years. I've been here for 34 years. So hopefully you guys will look at it, and if you can consult with some of the people that do the job and some of the people that are outside that don't know what they're doing and talking about it, you'd have a better understanding. And thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to thank the brothers and sisters who took the time to come here to support us in our struggle. So my hats go off to them first. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Acting President, Hartman Board members. As you know, my name is Yvonne Williams, and I'm the President Business Agent of over 760 members of ATU Local 192. I'd like to ask my members to stand and be recognized as bus operators, mechanics, dispatchers, workers who fight every day. Better ride, a slogan that needs to be more than just a slogan. A better ride means respect for our passengers and for us as workers. As members said, and you may have seen on our Facebook page, we are faces of AC Transit. We are the workers who carry 200,000 passengers every day. We are the workers who brought home less to our families and communities by giving back over $35 million to keep the district running during the recession. We are the workers who have experienced a 50% increase in work-related injuries from 2011 to 2012, according to your own OSHA law, because of the cutbacks and speed-ups, Mr. David Armijo. We are the workers who came to the bargaining table this year, only to be told on the first day that your idea of good faith bargaining was to propose to terminate our contract effective June 30th, 2013, Mr. Armijo. We are the workers who know the value of the mechanics and apprenticeship program and the need to offer hope and opportunity to young men and women in our communities and to help them to land good jobs, jobs with a future, the kind of jobs our members have performed for 112 years, Mr. Armijo.
Thank you, Yvonne.
But you should know all that, and I believe you're welcome, and I believe that you do. Tonight I ask that this elected board do two things. First, we have all heard in the press about the negotiations with bargaining, and I am proud to stand with our sister union, Local 1555, today and every day. Our unions came together for a day of solidarity last week, and the commitment ourselves to improve transit service and winning respect for transit workers. AC Transit has been participating in coordination meetings with MTC to put plans in place in the event But our union has not been informed of how you will protect our members' safety. I have documentation of incidents during the last strike of buses being surrounded by angry passengers, rocked from side to side, and windows shot out, placing our members in imminent danger. I call on this elected board to direct staff to inform us about your plans to protect the safety of this important workforce. Get us an answer to my question, Mr. David Armijo. Second, I want to thank the board again for voting last month to reject the proposal to privatize transit service. I hope that you saw the vote that expressing disappointment in management's commitment in bargaining. We are proud of the equality of our work, our reliability, and our commitment to the passengers. We need management to come to the table and bargain in good faith. I want to close tonight by reminding us that the world has been praying for our great leader this week. Former South African President Nelson Mandela is in poor health, and we are reminded daily of his determination, his commitment, and during imprisonment, I want to paraphrase that old saying, now that you have struck the transit workers, you have struck a rock. Our local members are a rock. We are committed and we are ready to bargain. We are ready to do whatever needs to be done to improve service, support our families and our communities, and deliver a better ride you talk about. We demand respect from the district, and we'll get it. That's
for transit justice. We're also part of the Revive Oakland Coalition. So I as well as Andreas, am here tonight to let you know that we have met with the staff and have had some of the conversations around the jobs agreement and the jobs policy for the BRT construction jobs, and that's moving along well, and we're going to be continuing to talk to staff. I also want to let you know that the bus riders stand in solidarity with the drivers and the operators as they're in negotiations on their contract, and we know and understand that you don't have to raise our fares in order to give them the wages and benefits that they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you for saying my name right. Before I start, I would like to know if anybody would be willing to cede their time to me, because it's very rude to be interrupted during a conversation.
They can cede all they want. They're not going to have more than 2 minutes.
Okay, I'm just asking because this is not my word. Thank you very much, President Harper. Good evening. Good evening, Board. Directors Young and Williams, I've had the pleasure of meeting you. My name is Antoinette Bryan. I am the President Business Agent of ATU, Local 1555, representing train operators and station agents. I have over 30 of my members that are here standing in support of ATU 192. Over 400,000 riders a day at BART. We work in concert with the drivers of ATU 192. And we have come here today to show our support to them in the struggle that they are encountering. As you know, we took a strike vote yesterday, and overwhelmingly with our membership, 99.9% voted to authorize our executive board to go on strike. We come here tonight to demonstrate our solidarity with our brothers and sisters with Local ATU 192 and other transit systems. For 112 years, Local 192 has delivered a better ride. We make BART work, and they've made transit work in the East Bay. In recent years, all of us have sacrificed, working harder with fewer employees and experiencing more injuries, stress, and fighting hard to keep our servicing our riders. 2013, you may call it a blue moon, when both of our contracts expire on Sunday. Last Saturday, hundreds of our members, along with other union members, came together to mark a day of solidarity and commit our futures to each other. We are bargaining for better transit at AC and at BART. I encourage this board to put safety first and ensure adequate staffing to protect the riding public and our ATU members. I encourage you to recognize the dignity and worth of all of our labor, and to approach our sister local with honor and integrity that the public expects of all of us. Our members recognize the leadership and sacrifice of AC Transit workers, and we stand in solidarity with them. Thank you.
I'm Sheila Lumford, and I'm a representative of ACE, Bus Riders for Transit Justice. And we're in solidarity with BART and AC Transit because we need the buses and we need BART. There's no reason that you guys can't come together and give them a decent contract without raising the fares, because they've been raised too much as it is. And they're taking money from the poorest communities in order to support the wealthier ones. Thank you.
10 brothers and sisters, it just goes on. Good evening, AC Transit Board of Directors. My name is Josie Camacho. I'm the Secretary Treasurer of the Alameda Labor Council, and standing behind me and having the back of the ATU workers of 192 are Antoinette, Brother Finn, Joyce, Yvonne, and Yvonne also and Andreas Kluber on my executive committee of the Alameda Labor Council. We proudly represent over 100,000 union households in Alameda County, and we stand here in strong support of the bus operators, dispatchers, mechanics, and allied workers. We know that these are very difficult, stressful times. We also know that transportation is a needed necessity for seniors, students, working families. A bus line is a lifeline to opportunity. In fact, in 2012, the Alameda Labor Council, with the encouragement of AC Transit, endorsed and worked very hard to try to pass Measure B1. Those of you remember Measure B1, we only lost it by 700 votes. But we understood in labor the need and services that it would provide for those at large in our community. Well, let's not forget the workers. We come here because these men and women, and I also want to ask them to stand, we need to really treat them with dignity and respect for the hard work that you do every single day. I came here last year to speak before you that they had families, they had grandmothers, they had children to be able to raise on middle-class wages. That's why we're urging you and letting you know that we will stand very hard and very firm until we get a fair settlement and a contract that is reflective of the standard that we want for working families in this county. Thank you very much.
Stephen Hitz.
Labor Policy Specialist at UC Berkeley Labor Center and also a 12-year resident of Oakland. I kind of prepared some notes. I want to say things very quickly. I was amazed at the disrespect you showed Yvonne Williams. I was really floored by that. I thought we'd have a conversation, people have an emotion, but that disrespect was incredible. And if you show that kind of disrespect in public, I can imagine what happens behind closed doors. I'm here to support the workers of AC Transit, but also I'm here to support the community. And that means supporting the workers of AC Transit because they're part of the community. Too often times what happens is people try to split off workers from the community. It's two different people, but they're the same folk. They live in the cities of Alameda County, Contra Costa. The kids go to schools here. And so when you strengthen the workers that work for you, you also strengthen your communities as well. I really think that a central need here in our counties is to rebuild our cities. You know, we need to have cities where our families can be safe for their kids and dreams can be realized. And when that doesn't happen, trouble develops. And AC Transit workers want a rebuilt city that's good for themselves and for people who ride the buses and people where they live themselves. But you know, while having a stronger transit system is part of rebuilding the city, you can't do that without workers that you treat fairly. And when we talk about having a new system, better system, that means workers have respect and are treated fairly. That means they feel safe in their jobs. That means they don't feel that they're always asked to bear the burden of balancing the budget continually. I mean, studies show that when you have workers that you disrespect, you have higher turnover. And higher turnover means less quality service. So I strongly urge you to want to respect, feel like the leaders of your employees, talk to them with decency, bargain fairly, and make sure they're treated with respect. Thank you.
Good evening, President Harper, Board of Directors, General Manager, and staff at AC Transit, and all of the people who supported me in 2012. I've been waiting for this day. I would like everyone to know that I was one of the bus drivers who drove during the last BART strike. How hard it was that day to move that bus with all of those people waiting for us at the Transbay Terminal. I was at the MTC meeting this morning, and I discovered that AC Transit is inside the contingency program that they have in place. We're the first company listed as to help during the BART strike. I've been doing a little survey with the bus drivers and their employees, and I've been asking one question: where is the proposal that you're supposed to have in your hands, like I have this contingency plan in my hands? How can you say that you're going to have a contingency plan and you're in it when you haven't even signed and ratified your own contract? You were there this morning at the meeting. I want to know, are you a puppet? Did Stephen Heminger give you a check that a contract is signed already that you're not telling the public? Who are you playing with? The lives of ATU, and in the words of Bob Marley, stand up, stand up, stand up for your rights.
First of all, I'd like to say I love each and every one of you, and there's nothing that you can do to make me dissatisfied with myself nor the opulence of type of operation that I serve every day. I am the C220 ATU 192. I don't need to use the restroom. I don't have marital. I am not under stress control. I do not get angry. I am the ATU 192 automaton. I represent the next generation of your children and grandchildren that will provide the technology that will drive all the medium systems of the world. I do not need vacation time. I do not need restroom time. I do not need to argue. Immediate policies and contracts are not necessary because I do not negotiate. Automatic fare invasion and termination to all people who do not pay fares will be dealt with. Thank you very much. But for now, I represent 1.2 billion. But I offer to you the finest men of women that will give you perfect opulence in everyday transportation. Wow. I love you and thank you.
I'm upset that I have to follow that. My name is Sarah Bone. Someone left their phone here.
Oh, my timing system. I'm human.
This is going to be very short and sweet, but I was born and raised in the Bay Area. I grew up in Richmond, and I remember taking the 74 line to Hilltop Mall, riding the 72 from Oakland to Richmond just because that's what we did. So I didn't even get a driver's license until I was 25 years old, so public transit has always been my main means of travel from a very young age to 25. I am now a station agent with BART, 7 years, ATU 1555. Yeah! I am here only to say I don't stand behind Local 192, I stand beside them. These are my brothers and sisters in transit. And we go, when I used to ride the bus as a young child, I never really thought, but as an adult now doing the job I do, I'm in a booth, which is not safe by any means, but they're on the bus with all these people, all these people with no protection. At least I got a phone and a radio and some shattered glass that will just shatter, but at least I'm in a booth. Their backs are to these people. That is terrifying. I stand with my brothers and sisters, 1555 and 192, and things are going to change. Things are going to change. Mark my words.
I'm Steve Zeltzer with the United Public Workers for Action, and we stand 100% with the bus drivers, the workers, the transit workers of California. Not just here, but everywhere who are under attack. Because this is not an isolated situation. The MTC and these agencies and the puppets really of the billionaires are telling the public workers they have to pay for this crisis. There were 88 billionaires in California, now there are 100 billionaires, but you don't have money for a wage increase. In fact, you want wage concessions from these workers. In addition, you have contempt, in my view, for their health and safety conditions. I was covering their conditions a couple of years ago when they were fighting for the right to go to the bathroom. When agencies are cited for Ca Osha for not allowing workers to go to the bathroom, what kind of treatment is that in the 21st century for working people? You have no respect for these workers. And these workers have a long history. People should remember that. In 1946, they joined the rest of the workers in shutting down Oakland in a general strike. And actually what you and BART and these managers are doing are forcing all working people to come together because you have the same game plan. Attack the workers, demand concessions, two-tier pensions. Substitute workers, temporary workers. You are forcing all workers to fight together and fight in a united way, and that's what we have to do, because we are in a struggle, all working people, against these kind of attacks on our basic human rights. Today, people are dying in the streets. People can't get health care in this country, in the richest country in the world. And I say enough is enough. We have rights to live as human beings. The bus drivers, the BART workers, and the other public workers are human beings, and they should live decently and right in this country. Thank you.
Citizen, also somebody who teaches. That's why I wore my shirt today. This is all too familiar because education fails, it's our problem because we're the teachers, we're responsible. Everybody who's ever been in a school, gone to school, has kids in school, knows that's a lie. The same way that we hear that the workers at AC Transit are the problems, are the source of the problems for the malfunctioning of the system, that's the same lie. Unfortunately, this board seems much like the board at the school where I work. Maybe you don't remember who you're supposed to be representing. You're not appointed by the banks. You're not appointed by the billionaires that were just referenced. You are supposed to represent the public. We are the ones who use the transit, not the billionaires. They have their limousines. I watch at my school while these professionals, I watch mechanics come in, fix buses that are breaking down at the bus stop. I watch people load on people. Our students are wheelchair bound. They are blind. And then I watch them in the afternoons when they have to mingle with junior high school students and community college students and somehow manage that insanity and move off in a calm, collected fashion. They need to be rewarded, not over-rewarded, but recognized with the dignity. I talk to drivers. It amazes me that they do not have regular bathroom breaks, break rooms. I've worked in factories, I've worked in warehouses. I've never heard of this kind of situation where people are treated like this. So you are the stewards of this transit system, and if you can't do that, maybe you need to think about where you are. When I see this headline, AC Transit Director on both sides of issues, I don't know about this, just one second, I don't know about the specifics of this, but the side you should be on is the public. There are no two sides. That is affordable transit and treat the workers with dignity and respect.
Transit operator. Much of the talk these days is about saving so-called middle-class jobs, about providing for families, about family values. But the actions of this board and the people they represent say just the opposite. In 2010, you took 10 to 15% of our wages and benefits. Now, you are turning back the clock by demanding part-time jobs and making them pay 6.75% of their low wages toward pensions. You're destroying good jobs. You're not creating them. When you cut pensions, multiply as much as 35%, and the overall pensions as much as 50%, you're destroying the lives of retirees. You're not creating anything. So who do you really work for? When you raise the fares 3 times faster than workers' wages while cutting service, you're not serving the public, but I think you're really serving somebody else. What you're serving are the politicians, the oil companies, and the banks that are taking over half of the federal budget for war. And they just said they want $30 billion more to fight workers from other countries rather than going after the bankers that have ripped off this economy. You're fronting for CEOs like William Hemsley of United Health, who has a $1.7 billion pension plan. These are you're fronting for. Well, we got something else. We, ATU 192, 1555, and SEIU 1021, we're the ones that do the work. And we got one thing for you, and it's an old saying. shut it down, shut it tight. The bosses can't profit when the workers unite.
I'm sorry that my subject's a little different, but
between companies like East Bay Bad Transit, County Connections, and Wheels of Dakota County. You guys have to change the system. I written a letter, 2-page letter, and you all read it. And when somebody needs a ride to go to Orinda or Pleasant Hill, it shouldn't be 3 hours.
To your attention, is just published by the Alameda County Health Department, Public Health. It's Getting on Board for Health, a health impact assessment of bus funding and access. It's really a public health problem. We need to get transit, more money into transit. And it's vitally important. 2 weeks ago today, 42 different nonprofit organizations interested in the environment and social justice met with every MTC commissioner and ABAG commissioner in response to their
business agent, Local 92. I just have maybe 1 or 2 things to say. We do want a fair contract. And operators from one Local 92 is the backbone of AC Transit. They take pride in their job. They do their job with high expectations. Also, I noticed here this evening, looking back here, we have 2 sheriff officers here, so I'm curious to know who's been taking the drivers out there on the road since y'all are considering outsourcing the sheriff department, which is a very reliable force towards the operators here. I watched many videos where operators being assaulted. I watched many videos where people shooting around the buses. And you possibility in the future thinking about outsourcing the sheriff department. We, Local 192, we are a union, we're very strong. We will stick together with our co-workers for BART. But we are here for the protection of our operators who deserve benefits and decent wages. I want you to take that into consideration. Thank you.
It's hard to figure out what you say to a board that supposedly represents the interests of the public and does such a miserable job about it. Either you're lying and you don't represent the interests of the public, or you're just stupid because you don't know who the hell the public is. If you look at the public position right now, we are in the largest number of people who rely on public transit in the last 50 years, and we're seeing the highest number of cuts, route reductions, and fare increases that we've ever seen. We have cuts to services, which means you have older people, workers who get off late at night, who can't get a ride home. Like we just heard from this gentleman how long it takes. That's not the interest of the public. The distance we have to walk to get to our bus stops is getting longer. The pressure for the drivers to keep up and collect the full fare when people are making lower wages and the fares keep going up, that's not in the interest of the public. I mean, look at the situation for the drivers and the workers for AC Transit, it's no different. The last contract you had concessions, wage freezes, you're talking about cuts to their pension, you want to rip families apart, that's not in the interest of the public. You have workers who don't even have time to take a break. You got schedules that are switched around all the time. You're not even allowed to drink water. As we heard, you can't even go to the bathroom. The idea that this gentleman made as a joke that you're a robot, well, in fact, that's exactly what you want from people. And I think that if you even call this a negotiation, it's a joke. What this is a race to the bottom. What you want is people that we're at here, you want us to be down here and lower, and we live in California, the richest state in this country. There's more than enough money to pay for public transit. I don't think we should call this a negotiation. This is an attack on our lives, and it's a declaration of war, and we're ready to fight to defend it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is George Figueroa. I'm station agent for BART. I'm an Oakland resident, and I've been riding AC Transit since Jesus left Chicago. And it's the first time I've seen some of you wake up when you just talk. I've seen smirks, the I don't care attitude. It's really disgraceful. I grew up in Harlem and East Harlem. There were a lot of of Sicilians there. And I wasn't an altar boy, thank God, otherwise I'd probably be a board of director. But anyway, we say, lavorare, pugnare, parati somos. We're here to work, we're here to fight, either one, we're ready for it. So be prepared. But I do want to ask a question. How do you go to sleep at night when you treat people like dirt? And especially, some of you come from a background which is probably similar to mine, where there's been a history of oppression and degradation, and you sit here and work for people to do that to your own. And I'm talking about your sex, your race, everything. It's disgraceful. This is the first time I've seen Mr. People smile. He was asleep most of the time. We're human beings. That's why I'm making it personal. Because we're human beings just like you. We have families just like you. We have the same needs just like you. I let them use our toilets. When I see them waiting online to use a public toilet, be quiet. I think it's really disgraceful that they have to do that. And I hope that you really think about your morals. And think about your souls. Think about that when you go to sleep tonight.
Everybody laughed, but the sad part of it, what he was saying, a lot of it is true. I've been here since 1991. My first day of line training, somebody shot in the bus where I was sitting. If the bullet would have went through the bus, I'd either be dead, paralyzed, or maybe I could have recovered from the hospital. I've been in buses where they've thrown concrete through windows, hit me with, oranges and apples, and, threw stuff at me all the time. And we work in dangerous conditions. I've been in buses where they've set big guns on top of the fare box digging for bus passes. It's just been terrible. And the restroom thing, when you have 6 minutes at the end of the line, you have to get the people off the bus, secure the bus, then you have to walk, and me, Achilles tendonitis, arthritis, and everything else, you have to walk to hell to get to the toilet, then you get there and there's one toilet and there's a line. So at one point in my career, we used to have bags on the bus. People were using the bags, am I lying? To go to the restroom. So once AC Transit found out about that, they started punching holes in the bags. We would use coffee cups, whatever we could find. Turn the lights off in the bus, use the bathroom, or do like I did. It's 100 degrees inside the bus. Get on the bus 11 o'clock, know that you cannot eat or drink anything because you're not getting out of that seat till 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening because you were scared to drink because you knew you had to go to the bathroom. And I would always tell Kathleen Kelly when she was here, where everybody is making it, everybody can do it. You put that paddle up there, it's a psychological thing. You're going to try to make something work that's impossible to work. So, everybody laughed, but in reality, when you cannot go to the bathroom, that is the most horrible thing in your life.